It's a risky game of chicken. The Cold War contest of nerves between Soviet and NATO pilots is making a significant comeback. In April 2016, the USS Donald Cook was buzzed by a Russian bomber jet in the Baltic Sea, not just once, but several times. And this Russian military video shows an Allied F-16 flying close to the Russian defense minister's plane, with a Russian fighter getting between them. U.S. and NATO officials believe an accidental, deadly collision that spirals out of control is one of the most dangerous threats facing the alliance.
It will stress greatly those relations that are already pretty poor. We don't have a strong line of communication, so it could be the recipe for possible miscalculation and escalation into a larger crisis.
Right now, the focal point of these close encounters is the Baltic Sea. Before Russia annexed Crimea from Ukraine in 2014, these near accidents were almost unheard of. But from spring 2014 to April of this year, analysts noted 97 mid-air confrontations between NATO and Russia over the Baltic. That's more than two-thirds the global total. Of course, there's a history behind these showboating stunts, long used to test military tactics and equipment. But Western officials say Moscow has shown a growing willingness lately to use close calls as political warnings, timing them when it is unhappy with a U.S. geopolitical move. Russia denies this and accuses the U.S. of eroding its security by building up a military presence on Russia's borders. But some of those borders it shares with nervous NATO neighbors, the Baltic states. Like Russian-annexed Crimea, they were once ruled by the Soviet Union.
The Baltic states feel reassured by the NATO presence. That's the best life insurance, is to have NATO forces, including US soldiers on the ground, as the best deterrent to tell Russia, don't even think about it.
On the agenda when the NATO-Russia Council meets this week, the close calls and Russia's large-scale September military exercises.
The worry about large-scale Russian exercises that it could be a preamble to something more serious. This is what we've seen in Ukraine in 2014, where before Russian forces moved to Crimea and then eastern Ukraine, you had a large-scale Russian exercise happening on the border between Russia and Ukraine. So I think that precedent makes people worry that an exercise can disguise the real military intent.